demon. You are my son. Ne Zha!
The film begins with Taiji narrating the story of the Chaos Pearl. 3 years ago, this pearl gave rise to two entities. A powerful immortal decided to split it in two, creating the Spirit Pearl and the Demon Pearl. However, a spell was cast on the latter, decreeing its annihilation by a celestial thunderbolt 3 years after its birth. Despite this, Shengong Bao intervened in its destiny. Ne Zha, the third prince of Chengtang, was reborn as the Demon Pearl, while the Spirit Pearl was reincarnated as Ao Bing, the son of the Dragon King. By chance, the two became friends. Over time, Ne Zha reformed and left his demonic attitudes behind. He also saved Shengong Bao's valley. Together, the two princes fought against the calamity, and Ne Zha managed to reverse his fate. Sometime later, Taiji narrated that everyone knew of their great deeds. Although their souls were destroyed, the seven-colored lotus had the power to rebuild their bodies. The essence of the lotus flowed in the water, generating special fruits. Taiji asked the farmers to collect these fruits and, once the essence was complete, instructed them to submerge themselves in it. Ne Zha, upon doing so, was filled with joy. Taiji then asked the celestial pig to mold their bodies. Both thanked him, although their forms were not yet completely restored. At that moment, Ne Zha's parents informed them they had summoned all the armies of Chengtang to be on alert for a possible attack from Shengong Bao. Taiji warned them to be careful, as the Dragon King represented a great threat. He then showed his feat to Ne Zha, who, though satisfied, was a perfectionist and suggested making improvements. His parents shared his opinion, which annoyed the celestial pig, who finally gave them the magic chisel. Meanwhile, Taiji took the opportunity to complete Ao Bing's transformation. However, upon finishing, he noticed that Ne Zha had created an inferior version of himself, so Ne Zha asked him to restore his original form. Taiji then performed a spell with which Ne Zha regained his physical body. At that moment, a messenger arrived with urgent news. Shengong Bao was in the skies above the city. Ao Bing wanted to join the battle and help Ne Zha's parents, but Taiji warned him that it was best to stay on the sidelines if he wanted to preserve his body. In the city, Shengong Bao declared he wasn't alone. He had recently met with the Sea Kings, who were full of rage after being imprisoned for so long. Their leader and Ao Bing's father, Ao Wang, threatened his brothers, demanding moderation in their words, as he considered them inferior and forbade them from speaking of his son with contempt. His sister, in an attempt to negotiate, made him a proposal. She offered to share with Shengong Bao the celestial opening technique, a weapon with which he could invade Chengtang. In the present, Shengong Bao activated this technique, tearing the sky and summoning the sea warriors under the command of the dragon sister. However, her help would not be free. Her only condition was that Ao Wang reduce the magma level in his prison. Meanwhile, Taiji watched as the sea monster from the previous film tried to flee, abandoning his two helpers to their fate. Taiji ordered them to stop fighting and help him. In the city, the conflict continued. Shengong Bao took advantage of the situation to confront his brother, who was protected by a barrier. However, Shengong Bao used the 3 sea dragons to destroy the protection. Ao Bing tried to stop them, but his father, worried about his well-being, intervened. Ao Bing begged his father to desist, but by not following his master's instructions, he began to weaken. Ne Zha, alarmed by his friend's situation, witnessed the 7-colored lotus being destroyed. Desperate, he begged his master to find a solution, but Taiji didn't know what to do. Despite his state, Ao Bing continued to implore his father to leave the city in peace. Given the seriousness of the situation, Taiji concluded that the only way to save them was to fuse Ne Zha and Ao Bing into one body, for at least 7 days. Ao Bing accepted, and the two combined into a single entity. Now, their mission was to find the Yuye of King Yongyang, a weapon capable of restoring the magical power of any object, which would allow them to regenerate the lotus. For his part, Shengong Bao was suspicious of the situation, fearing that his brother would betray him and the dragons for their recent transgressions. However, Shengong Bao had a better plan. He proposed that Ne Zha participate in the contest of immortals, where the prize could be the Yuye of King Yongyang. Taiji immediately objected, arguing that his brother knew Ne Zha's demonic aura and could use it against him. Still, Shengong Bao sought to profit from the situation. In the midst of the conflict, Li Jin intervened and begged the king to put aside his disputes and not let the parents' mistakes fall on the children. Ao Wang, offended, reminded him that he had no right to address him that way. However, after thinking about it, he accepted the deal. They would have 7 days to save his son, but if they didn't comply with the agreement, they would flood the city. Li Jin accepted the challenge but imposed a condition. Only Ne Zha and Taiji could leave the city, so they had better not betray them to the other gods. Before leaving, he approached Shengong Bao and warned him that his brothers were not to be trusted, urging him to be very careful. Minutes later, the inhabitants of Chengtang thanked Ne Zha for saving them. Although Ne Zha humbly accepted the praise and asked them to play with him, the citizens still feared him. His father decided to play with him, since after all that's what Ne Zha had always wanted. Before starting, his wife warned him that Ne Zha was very strong, but he, with complete confidence, replied that he wasn't worried, as he was also a great warrior. However, in the end, Ne Zha hurt him, which made his mother also want to join the game. Ne Zha, on the other hand, refused, suddenly feeling sad because he was afraid of losing them. Before leaving, his mother tried to hug him, but Ne Zha, embarrassed, decided not to reciprocate. While they were flying, she asked him to be careful, to behave well, and be respectful. Ne Zha, still in the air, commented that he didn't hug his mother because the situation made him uncomfortable, although he was sure he would see her again. On the other hand, Taiji, impatient, explained that to pass the exam he would have to overcome 3 tests, facing 3 different demon kings. However, when he fought, he would have to demonstrate all his abilities without endangering them. For this, he ordered Ao Bing to fight in his place, although he still didn't completely master his body. They both practiced, but Ao Bing had difficulties controlling it properly, which caused Taiji's constant mockery. Faced with a lack of options, the master gave him a flask with special pills that would keep Ne Zha's soul dormant, giving Ao Bing absolute control of his body. After ingesting them, Ao Bing faced Taiji, who assured him he wouldn't hold back. To his surprise, he ended up getting injured in the battle. Upon reaching Gulong Mountain, they saw the devout followers of the Supreme God, who had come to pay tribute and make offerings. Everyone wanted to meet the Mountain Master. After this, Taiji showed them the amulet that every immortal possesses, the Jade Pendant, a symbol of respect and recognition. The Jade Herons welcomed them while Taiji watched the gods' chariots soaring through the sky, accompanied by captured prisoners. Among them was the scholar Lu Tong, an apprentice who had been captured. Passing by one of the palaces, Taiji told Ne Zha about the legendary treasure of the Yuk Palace. When they finally arrived at Wulishang Palace, they were received with enthusiasm. Wulishang expressed his joy at seeing him again and congratulated him on his new position. Taiji, for his part, introduced his disciple Ne Zha, as he felt the time had come for him to face the immortality exam. Wulishang immediately recognized who he was and was surprised, stating it was an honor to see such an illustrious warrior as his brother's apprentice. Just at that moment, the effect of the pills began to wear off, and Ne Zha regained control of his body, only to urinate in the middle of the palace. The great master immediately reprimanded him. Trying to resolve the situation, he asked his apprentice Haitong to take Ne Zha to his room to change, but he refused, confused by the expression used. As they walked, Ne Zha asked Haitong if she was alone, if she got bored in that place, or even better, if immortals also relieved themselves. Fed up with his absurd questions, Haitong decided to simply ignore him. By accident, Ne Zha ripped Haitong's skirt and, embarrassed, apologized. She, without being flustered, told him she would go change and pointed the way to the bathroom. However, following the instructions, Ne Zha mistakenly entered a secret room full of jade vases. Without thinking too much, he urinated in one of them and upon trying to leave, realized he couldn't find his way back. Later, Haitong took him to her master, who announced that that day they would drink a special elixir purified for centuries. To his horror, Ne Zha discovered that the drink they were about to consume had been served in the same jade vases he had urinated in moments earlier. Desperate, he spat out the elixir, accidentally splashing Haitong. Taiji reprimanded him severely, but when he drank the elixir, Ne Zha, unable to contain himself, confessed the truth. Disgusted, Taiji immediately left the room and apologized to his master for the incident. Meanwhile, in Chengtang, the soldiers were preparing for the imminent arrival of the dragons. The monsters anxiously awaited the appointed day, while Shengong Bao continued to train with iron discipline. His exhausted warriors begged for rest, but he insisted they must continue. At that moment, Li Jin interrupted, requesting the opening of a portal so that his doctors could bring more medicine. Offended, Shengong Bao asked him, "Who do you think you are to demand such a thing?" Koma, reminding him of the agreement. Neither a demon nor a human, not even they themselves, can leave that place. To make his point, Shengong Bao challenged Li Jin to execute the recently captured sea monster. Li Jin, with a serious expression, asked him to reconsider his decision. Just then, the soldiers dragged in a human prisoner who had tried to escape. The man insisted he wasn't a common human, but Shengong Bao's brother. His name was Sheng Bao. Seeing him, Shengong Bao was filled with emotion. It had been over 100 years since he had returned home, and he had missed his brother. His master, who was also his father, had entrusted him with finding him, giving him a special compass to track his location. He also revealed that the entire monster clan had been training tirelessly to achieve immortality. In that time, they had perfected their transformations and had become the great Shengtang family, travelers who provide help to everyone by the blessing of heaven. Li Jin explained that Shengong Bao led the monster tribe in charge of protecting the city. Proud, Sheng Bao congratulated his brother, but he asked for patience. Very soon you will become one of the 12 immortals, and when that happens, I will come for you. However, he admitted that it might take a few more years to achieve it. Believing his words, Sheng Bao promised to continue training tirelessly until that day. As a sign of affection, Shengong Bao gave him some sweets before leaving. As he walked away, he thanked Li Jin for his help, although he made it clear that he would not change his decision. Li Jin, with an enigmatic smile, replied that he never intended to ask him for anything. In the end, he assured him that thanks to their meeting, the boy now had a better example of a brother. When Li Jin left, Shengong Bao, finally giving in, demanded that he give him a list of medicines and informed him that he would open the portal shortly. The first test would take place in the kingdom of the Beavers. He presented himself and firmly announced that he had come to eliminate the king of those creatures. However, no one paid him any attention. Frustrated, he overturned a beaver's soup, which angered the king. He asked with indignation, "Who dared to commit such an insult?" Determined to teach him a lesson, the king prepared to face him. Ne Zha, without wasting time, ceded control of his body to Ao Bing, who exhibited his skills with dexterity. Frightened by the demonstration, the king decided to send his younger brother into battle. However, the pills that should have given him power had no effect, as Ne Zha had regained control of his body. Desperate to find the pills, Ne Zha began to search, but before he could find them, the beaver brother knocked him out, causing the flask of pills to accidentally fall into the beaver's soup. Meanwhile, Lutong wanted to end the exam, but Taiji insisted on giving him another chance. Ne Zha, with no other option, decided to drink all the soup and fight the beavers. Seeing that his enemy was weaker than he expected, the king intervened, but was easily defeated. His younger brother continued the battle and managed to impose himself, and as a result, Ne Zha ended up vomiting all the soup. In a moment of desperation, he realized that the only way to win was to eat his own vomit. In the end, they were knocked out, and again the king tried to eliminate him, but then Ao Bing took control of the body and defeated both brothers. With this, Ne Zha passed the test. Lutong ordered his warriors to capture the beavers, as they would now be locked up and guided on a better path. Ao Bing tried to intervene, but Taiji ordered him to remain silent. Back at the palace, Ne Zha was praised for his feat. Many gods praised him, although some despised him, commenting that he was ugly, had terrible manners, and pronounced dark circles under his eyes. Angry, Ne Zha wanted to attack those who insulted him, but Taiji asked him not to. That day, January 10th, the main gods met in a very rare event, the Conference of the Gods. Taiji suggested it would be best to withdraw, but Wu Lishang reminded him that sooner or later he would be part of the gods himself, and that therefore it was best for him to stay and accompany them. All the gods were present. Wu Li introduced Taiji as his younger brother and disciple, highlighting that he had met all expectations and had managed to turn the pearl's bearer into an educated person. However, the war of the gods was imminent, so they had to carefully plan their next moves. Among those present, there was a consensus that if they remained united, they could defeat and eradicate all evil. In particular, they pointed to the clan of the Sky Dragons, as they had become a problem for them. One of the gods asked, what exactly did they do wrong? Lutong coldly replied that they had not yet committed any wrongdoing, but they were extremely powerful and he didn't trust their race, so it would be best to eliminate them before they became a threat. Not all the gods shared this opinion, so the decision about their fate was postponed. In the middle of the meeting, one of the gods suggested that Ne Zha meet his brothers. However, this filled him with fear, as he had never met them or even known he had them. Nervously, he confessed that he didn't feel he was on par with them. Instead of being supportive, Ao Bing took the opportunity to insult him. Ne Zha thanked Ao Bing for his support and decided to take the pills. allowing him to take control of his body and meet his brothers. Sometime later, Ao Bing cried, which aroused the curiosity of Ne Zha, who asked him the reason for his sadness. Ao Bing replied that he remembered his other brother, which surprised Ne Zha, who was unaware that his friend had more brothers. With a melancholic smile, Ao Bing told him that in a way his other brother had always been Ne Zha. He then told him that Ne Zha's brothers had asked about his well-being, how he was doing, and assured him that no matter what happened, they would always be there for him because they loved him very much. Those words moved Ne Zha to tears. Ao Bing, seeing him cry, mocked him, but Ne Zha confessed that he felt afraid. He realized that he had been immature. But he also understood that he had never been alone. He had always had his parents who had accompanied and loved him. The two friends promised to become even stronger and stop being a burden to their family. In a distant valley, the master and father of Shengong Bao trained his disciples, instilling in them the importance of being righteous, confident, and striving to the fullest, as only then would they be able to become immortals. Suddenly, Ne Zha appeared before him and presented himself with determination, stating that he wanted to defeat him and achieve immortality, but for that, he needed his help. The master, impressed by the poem Ne Zha recited, congratulated him and ordered the rest of his students to practice it. However, he also pointed out his flaws, such as his rudeness and personal neglect. Faced with his insolence, the master expelled him and warned him that if he didn't obey, he would be more severe with him. Ne Zha, determined to prove his worth, allowed Ao Bing to manipulate his body, and together they challenged the master. During the fight, Ao Bing dodged the attacks using the disciples as a shield. The master, pleased with his skill, warned him that he would now fight seriously. Despite the master's superiority, the duo continued to fight. Ao Bing, taking advantage of a mistake, submerged him in the bottom of the river. But the master used this to his advantage and continued to attack. In a desperate attempt, Ao Bing froze the master, but he was distracted when he noticed the emblems of the gods. Ne Zha took the opportunity to freeze an arm, which allowed Lutong to arrest him. Before being taken away, the master instructed his students to maintain their composure and accept their punishment with dignity. He assured them that they would have better masters and that with the immortals they would exceed their expectations. However, Shengong Bao, seeing his master in danger, tried to defend him. Noticing that Ne Zha was still holding his arm, he attacked him with fury, despite his master's pleas to stop. Lutong, witnessing his transgressions, tried to eliminate them, but Ao Bing intervened and begged him not to. With sadness, he told him that his master was already dead and that now he only had to live in dishonor. Meanwhile, in Shenan, the medicine arrived. Li Jin asked Shengong Bao if he wanted to have lunch with them. We now see that the sea monster has become a loyal servant. He said that by being with them, he would leave evil behind and follow a better path. Lady Jin asked him if the food was to his liking. Sheng replied yes, because despite his mistakes, he knew he had to change. He still had time to improve, and if he didn't do it now, it would be much more difficult later. However, Shengong Bao interrupted them, asking them to be silent. According to him, they knew nothing about immortals. At that moment, one of his subjects brought with him Shengong Bao, who was injured. His brother, alarmed, asked him what had happened. In a weak voice, Shengong Bao told him that his father had lost an arm and was now a prisoner. Before fainting, his brother revealed that the person responsible for all this was Ne Zha. In the palace, Haitong congratulated Ne Zha on having passed the test. However, the master was not available at the moment, and it would be best to rest before continuing. But Ne Zha, impatient, wanted to continue. Then Lutong informed him that his next challenge would be to face the mountain demon. Shortly after, the jade monsters arrived with alarming news. The city of Shenan had been attacked. Upon arrival, Ne Zha discovered a desolate scene. The city was in ruins, consumed by fire. Everyone he knew had perished. Despite the horror, he desperately searched for his parents, but could not find them. On the ground, he found his mother's helmet, and upon touching it, a vision revealed what had happened. Taiji tried to console him, assuring him that sooner or later they would find them. At that moment, Wulishang awoke from his rest and, in a grave tone, asked who had been responsible for the devastation. Lutong explained that the attack had been a powerful and unexpected onslaught. Upon inspecting a wall, they discovered the silhouette of a dragon's claw marked in the stone. The old master was dismayed. He had believed that the dragons had reformed, but now he understood that they had escaped from their prison and caused this chaos. Lutong remembered that the Dragon King Ao Wang had the ability to free himself from his confinement. Connecting the facts, They deduced that the dragons were now planning to attack the celestial court. Filled with fury, Ne Zha proclaimed that he would finish off the dragons. He transformed the celestial pig into his wind and fire wheels and set off to complete his third test. Taiji tried to stop him, but Wulishang, understanding his pain, declared that those responsible for this tragedy would be punished. With determination, he ordered Haitong to gather the best warriors in the palace and, anticipating Ne Zha's anger, asked Taiji and Lutong to catch up with him and protect him. On King's Mountain, a woman known as Aunt Rock boasted of being the most beautiful and warned that anyone who dared to contradict her would be crushed. Anxious to confirm her beauty, she asked her talking mirror if she was still the most beautiful in the kingdom, to which the mirror answered affirmatively. At that moment, Ne Zha appeared and faced her in a fierce combat. In the end, only a small essence of the queen remained. Taiji and Lutong arrived at the scene, and the latter did not understand how it was possible for Ne Zha to handle fire when shortly before he had seen him using thread. Taiji explained that Ne Zha was an exceptional warrior, and that since his energy came from the Chaos Gem, he had the ability to perform many feats. Wulishang gave Ne Zha a medallion and informed him that from that moment on, he was an immortal. As such, he had to choose a weapon, so Ne Zha requested the Yuye of King Yongyang. Accepting his choice, the old master summoned the 12 immortals to inform them and request permission to eradicate the dragon clan. Before leaving, he asked Ne Zha to join them, but he refused, stating that he would first return to his city and then hunt the Dragon King. The old man wished them luck. With the Yuye in his power, Ne Zha helped his friend while Taiji resurrected the lotus. Ao Bing asked him to separate them, but Ne Zha advised him to stay, as what he was about to witness would be devastating. Taiji intervened to restrain him, warning him that if he tried to fly or acted rashly, he would lose his soul forever. It was then that they sighted the sea monster and wondered how it was possible that he was still alive. Meanwhile, in the city of the sea dragon, Ao Wang was bewildered by the presence of the Lord of Heaven, Wulishang, in his territory. He proclaimed that he had come to punish them as the great Dragon King had committed an unforgivable crime and everyone was there to end his life. Wulishang invoked a weapon with which he planned to annihilate everyone in the city. Before receiving the attack, Ao Wang transformed into his human form and tried to attack the old master, but his offensive was stopped by Lutong and Haitong. Meanwhile, the Dragon King's sister longed for her freedom and ordered her subjects to destroy the place. But other dragons prevented the act. Ne Zha confronted Ao Wang, promising to annihilate him. The city of the dragons was trapped in a gigantic urn, which Ne Zha took advantage of to try to defeat the Dragon King. Wulishang assured him that he would avenge his parents and eradicate evil as both would do justice. However, Ne Zha felt empty, not knowing what to do. His mind took him back to his early years, remembering his parents. At that moment, he saw them before him. Overwhelmed with emotion, he burst into tears because he had believed they were dead. Lady Jin then confessed to him that the dragons had not attacked them, nor had Shengong Bao. The true culprit was the one they called the Immortal. A few hours earlier, a wooden dragon arrived in the city. The sea dragons defended the place along with Shengong Bao, who indignantly asked who dared to attack the city. Then Wulishang appeared, and Sheng demanded to know why he had arrested his father, also accusing him of being a wicked immortal. Wuli replied that Ne Zha would be useful in his ranks, and that was why he had to eliminate his enemies. The Dragon King's brothers allied with the Immortal Master, promising to become his slaves in exchange for their freedom. As proof of their loyalty, they set the city on fire. To protect Ne Zha's parents, Wulishang ordered the sea monster to turn them to stone. Meanwhile, Shengong Bao decided to stay and face the marine army. Now, in the present, Wulishang proclaimed that he would turn the dragons into an elixir to create an invincible army. Taiji, disconcerted, did not understand how someone like him had been chosen as the palace sage. Ne Zha, upon hearing this, changed his mind and attacked the dragons. However, after defeating them, Wulishang injected needles throughout their bodies and locked them in the celestial vase. With great difficulty, Ao Wang managed to save himself. Outside the vase, Taiji couldn't believe his brother's cruelty. But Wulishang silenced him with a severe look. Inside the mystical prison, Ao Wang explained that the only way to escape was by meditating for 3 hours. Unfortunately, Ne Zha's mother was seriously injured. Wulishang appeared again and offered to free them in exchange for Ne Zha becoming his slave. His mother, outraged, rejected the proposal, assuring him that her son was a good person and would never serve someone so wicked. The old master left, and before it was too late, Ne Zha's parents asked him to find his brothers, reveal the truth to them, and fight the corrupt gods. Ne Zha, devastated, burst into tears when he realized his mother wouldn't survive. She hugged him tenderly and whispered that from the moment he was born, he became the most important thing in her life. She assured him that she would always love him and that being his mother had been her greatest blessing. Moments later, she took her last breath. Filled with anger and pain, Ne Zha unleashed his true power, destroying his own body in the process. By releasing his authentic form, he managed to rescue Ao Bing. Together, they decided to destroy that place, and with the power of the Chaos Pearl, they managed to free themselves. Wuli Shang, furious, refused to allow it. The rest of the immortals intervened, giving him their support. But none of those present could do anything against the overwhelming power of Ne Zha and Ao Bing. The celestial vase was destroyed, and a final battle broke out between both sides. With their newfound power, the princes managed to defeat the corrupt god. As he faded away, he swore to return and annihilate them. In the end, both princes said goodbye to their families and promised to finish off the corrupt gods, knowing that sooner or later the war would continue.